Am I the asshole for telling a wheelchair-bound lady her service dogs should not be at the playground? Throwaway, people are making me feel like I'm nuts here, and I can't believe this is real. Last Friday my wife and I took our 2 kids under 3 to the playground in our neighborhood park. This was a rare Friday where there were no commitments as we usually take them first thing in the morning. As we approached we noticed there were probably a dozen kids there and 2 large labs running in the grassy area unleashed. My wife and I are like the dogs shouldn't be there unleashed, but our little guy was excited to be at the playground. So we continued. We let our boy run around and the younger one we put in the swing. Some parents that were there started talking to us. They are essentially one big neighborhood parent group and meet up weekly. I didn't know anyone in this group. My son climbed a structure and went down a slide. Once he was off the slide there were no kids on that structure. A lady that had the 2 dogs there, I still don't know if she was a parent, let the dogs onto the playground structure and let them go down the slide. I spoke up to this lady and told her to keep her dogs off the equipment. She told me they were her service dogs. I said, I don't think service dogs play on playground equipment. She snaps back to me, service dogs are allowed to take breaks. She continues saying that we are here every week and no one has ever complained. I say that not everyone is comfortable around dogs and tell her I think it's selfish to let your dogs on the equipment, especially when children are around. Some parents support her and said as much to my wife and I. She told me that I should make sure my kids are comfortable around dogs before bringing them around dogs. I told this lady that she was insane and completely missed my point. My wife and I left after this. We noticed a Facebook post about us, that we have not engaged, and it seems it's 50-50 on if we are the assholes. Not the asshole. Service dogs are allowed to go where untrained dogs are not allowed to go because they are trained to help their owner and not be disruptive. Allowing the dogs to just run around, even on children's playground equipment, is irresponsible. They are not aiding the owner in that case, and they are being disruptive. She's the type of person who gives service dog owners a bad name and make it harder for people to actually use service dogs. Not the asshole. Having kids myself, I know that if this is an enclosed play area it almost certainly will have a no dogs rule. Of course the exceptions of service dogs is a given, but you're right, a service dog should not be off a leash and going down slides around other children. They should be on a lead and aiding the owner, not dicking around on kid play area slides. I would be surprised if these were actually service dogs. It sounds like she wanted her dogs to have priority. Not only is it unsafe, but it's not overly hygienic to have dogs on play equipment. Regardless of her situation or the dog's serviceability, they should be controlled. I say not the asshole. There are dog parks for letting dogs run around off leash. Being service dogs means she has to be able to have them with her everywhere and anywhere. That doesn't mean that the dogs should be allowed to do whatever they want. Also, playground equipment that is kid safe isn't necessarily dog safe. The dogs could potentially injure themselves, or injure a child they knock off the structure. Not the asshole. Service dogs don't use slides. While it's true that they need recreation time just like any other dog, because they have a job, it needs to happen on their time off. If she's going to pull the service dog card, that means it's not their time off and they need to behave as if they're on the clock. Your service dog can be performing its designated service, or it can be taking a break and just be a dog for a while. Both can't happen at the same time. Not the asshole. You didn't bring your kids around dogs. You took your kids to a kiddie playground and someone let her dogs run free there. I don't think dogs are allowed on playground equipment, and you should check to see the leash laws at that particular park. And everything she said was giving, get off my lawn, super grumpy, rude, and she doesn't care about anyone else. But, you could have handled the situation better. Telling her instead of asking her to remove her dogs was inviting an argument. And calling her insane was completely wrong. Am I the asshole for missing another big moment for my half-siblings? My dad is so inconsistent about being in my life. He and my mom divorced when I was 1, but he bailed days after I was born, came back when I was 8 months old, and my mom let him stay a month before realizing he wasn't serious about being a family with us and just used her for a place to stay. Once he realized she wasn't going to give in, he bailed again. He was in my life for a year when I was 3-4 years old. Then he was gone again. The next time I was 8. He was in my life for a few months under supervision, but he left again, and he made 2 appearances when I was 10. He didn't really pay child support either, which I learned this summer. Some money was given for me, but probably less than $400 in the last 16 years if what he said is right. When I was 13 he moved here for good, or so he says. He was married again and he had some kids with his wife. He went back to restart visitation with me, got some supervised visits again that became 1 overnight a month. Until finally I had to spend every other weekend at his house even though I don't want to. And I did speak to a judge about my wishes, but he told me it was in my best interest to have a relationship with my family. I really don't like being there and I try to only sleep in the bed I have at his house. I never take anything I care about and I don't have the room personalized or anything. The thing about all this is my dad and his wife encourage their kids to spend time with me and engage with me. They like having me there and they told me before they wish I'd spend more time there and with them. The kids did nothing wrong but I don't want to focus on a relationship with them. I feel nothing for them. But it's expected that I be there for the big moments in their lives. Not just by their parents but my dad's parents, who I don't know outside of some of the time I spend with him, also feel like I need to be a good brother and they expect me to take the role seriously. Which I find crazy since I don't know any of these people all that much and I don't want to. If it's not my dad's weekends, I do miss the big stuff and I don't try to be there for them. I got invited to go trick-or-treating with them on Halloween. I said no. I got a reply back that they really wanted me to come. I didn't, and I got sent so many texts from my dad's phone and phones that I assume are his wife's and his parents claiming I'm shitty for missing another big moment for my half-siblings. I blocked the others but dad's number is still doing this shit. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I got invited to go trick-or-treating with them on Halloween. I said no. I got a reply back that they really wanted me to come. I didn't, and I got sent so many texts from my dad's phone and phones that I assume are his wife's and his parents claiming I'm shitty for missing another big moment for my half-siblings. I blocked the others but dad's number is still doing this shit. This is your dad's do-over family and you have no relationship with them. BTW. How is Halloween trick-or-treating being a big moment for your half-sibs? Not the asshole. He has a lot of nerve considering how many of your big moments he missed over the years. Stand firm and in a couple of years the judge will have to take your feelings into account. Not the asshole. Tell your do-over family that you will attend one big moment for each one of yours that your dad attended the last 16 years. Did you remind your dad of his history as your father versus his history with your half-sibling? Tell him you will let him know when you are comfortable with the family he made, if you ever are. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your dad is trying to force a connection with you in spite of basically abandoning you for years. He wants the illusion of a happy family without the work of trying to actually take any accountability for his actions nor doing the necessary work to try and repair the relationship he destroyed. Even if he was willing though, some things, once destroyed, can't be rebuilt. My only question is how is he getting court-mandated visitation if he is still not paying child support? That seems a little weird unless your mother is the on board forcing the issue. Not the asshole. You might feel different if your dad had been around for your big moments. Or any moments. These people are in no way your family. Your mom needs to go to court to have child support and back child support garnished from his wages. Am I the asshole for interrupting husband's free time because I'm sick? I, 24 female, am pregnant with my second child. My husband, 25 male, wasn't the most understanding of pregnancy last time and basically thought I was being dramatic, till I started showing, at which point he was very supportive. This seems to be happening again. He has been helping out with our toddler a lot at night and I'm supposed to then take toddler when he's up at 6 a.m. to let husband sleep in. This has happened with varying success because toddler is loud. Last night husband went to bed at 9:30 p.m. last night and toddler slept till 4:45 a.m. when my husband got up to settle him and then husband went back to sleep till around 7:45. Tensions were already running high because husband continued to be off the clock, but stayed in the dining room. This meant toddler was running up to dad every 30 seconds. I was trying to make everyone food but was repeatedly being called over to distract my toddler away from my husband. I finally told him if he wanted to have free time he needed to go into the bedroom and shut the door. He did so after some grumbling that he should be allowed to enjoy time wherever he wants in his home. But seemed like he was fine after I brought him breakfast in bed. I continued to clean and take care of toddler while getting sicker and sicker. I had to interrupt husband for a minute to watch toddler while I puked. Then he went back to the room when I was done. At 9:45 a.m. I had to interrupt him again cause I was sick. At this point husband was very upset. He says I shouldn't be offering him free time and then interrupting him repeatedly. I feel I really did try my best to give him free time but can't control when I'm sick. I've tried to just bring toddler with me but he will just open the door and run away while I'm puking. Am I the asshole for interrupting my husband? Not the asshole, so obviously not the asshole. When you got married, did you exchange a set of vows that said, in sickness and in health, or some variant thereof? Because this sort of situation is what those vows mean. Your husband is your husband for all times and all seasons. Not just when he actively chooses to be on husband duty. That man is the father of your child at times and all seasons. Not just when he actively chooses to be on daddy duty. Toddlers are a handful. They require a lot of care. He knew that before you had a child. You are ill, so he needs to look after his own flesh and blood. Would you step up for him if he was ill? Why can't he step up for you? Girl, why did you have another baby with this guy after he already treated you like shit while you were pregnant with the first one? Don't get it twisted, huffing and accusing you of being dramatic and not supporting and caring for you whilst sick due to carrying his child, no matter how showing, is treating you like shit. Not the asshole, he sucks. Not the asshole, and the subtle language and actions here make it sound like there is already an inherent imbalance in your relationship. Your husband doesn't help out with his own kids. That's called just parenting. I notice you are also the one cooking, the one cleaning up after the toddler, the one expected to do such duties and also manage yourself, the house, the kids. While the husband relaxes and is occasionally given duties to help you. This isn't how a partnership should work. It should be more organic and equitable, and he should have more compassion and sympathy and be willing to take on more load without asking when you are sick. Your husband is a major awe. Not the asshole, he's a full-time dad and husband, them's the breaks. He was the asshole well before we even got to you being sick. He was miffed at you for struggling to cook food for the family and entertain the toddler at the same time. Frankly, it sounds like you have two toddlers. Not the asshole, but he has a point. With a toddler and pregnancy, you really shouldn't be offering him free time. So just listen to him. From now on, no more free time. He should be with both of you at all times, in case you have to throw up. And it's much safer for one parent to be cooking and the other to be watching the kid, and also so much more logical. Also, I want you to take a step back and think of the bizarreness that you would rather have your toddler watching you puke than your husband who's 30 seconds away looking after your toddler for a couple minutes. Not the asshole, being a husband and father isn't a job. It doesn't come with off-duty hours and weekends away. It's called being a partner and parenting. Honestly, it was a red flag during the first pregnancy when he thought you were being dramatic instead of having morning sickness. A well-documented part of pregnancy in the first trimester for a lot of people. If he feels the need to divide up the hours of the day and the duties of parenting a child to this degree even while married, you might as well go for the divorce and just turn it into the custody arrangement. Get the child support and move on and find a partner who gives a fuck about you and your kids and not just himself. Am I the asshole for adding salt to my meal at a gathering? I am in my late teens, and went to a dinner gathering with my family and a couple of other families. I am anemic, and have had some fainting spells in the last few weeks, and my doctor is slightly concerned about my low blood pressure readings. So instead of putting me on meds, she's advised me to add some things in my day-to-day lifestyle to try and naturally increase my blood pressure, including drinking plenty of water and increasing my salt intake. This means whenever I can, and remember, I try add a pinch of salt to my food, drink, and eat foods rich in iron, etc. At this dinner, I dished my food, and went to sit next to my mother and family friends in the living room. There were around 20 people in and out the house in the backyard, so people were sat everywhere. I took the first bite, and remembered to add some salt as I had been lacking that day. I checked the table where the food was being served and didn't see any salt, pepper, only condiments like ketchup, barbecue sauce, etc. So I asked the wife, mother, where the salt was, and she looked a bit taken aback, and went to the kitchen to get some. Before she handed me the salt, she asked if the food wasn't well salted. I didn't want to explain the blood pressure ordeal, so I just said, no, it tastes amazing. I especially love, but lately I've preferred more salt than usual. My mom always pokes fun at me. FYI, my mom doesn't make fun of me. I just tried to joke around and make it lighthearted cause I didn't want to offend her. She just smiled lightly and said, oh okay. Hours later in the car, my father was upset with me cause apparently the lady told the other older women there, who then told their husbands, where my dad overheard, who told my mom. He heard that I demanded more salt cause the food was too plain, which I did not say. Even after I clarified what I said, he was still mad at me for disrespecting the hosts of the dinner and said I should have just eaten the food, and that I have embarrassed him. My mom was quiet the whole time because she doesn't like arguing with my father as he's very stubborn and can get verbally aggressive quickly. I really don't think I've done anything wrong, but maybe I am not seeing it from an adult perspective? So, am I the asshole? How simple would it be to just be honest? My doctor has asked me to add extra salt for a while, done. Then she wouldn't have been insulted and the entire thing would have been avoided. You for lying for no reason and the hostess for overreacting and misrepresenting you. But it started with you. Not the asshole. I don't know why the everyone sucks here responders think you should be obliged to share your medical info. You were perfectly polite and praised the food, and also she straight up lied about you, which is ruder than anything you did. Not the asshole. Also, you a teenager. For a grown woman to be so pissed at you and gossip about you is just weird. Not the asshole. But I do know that adding salt can be seen as an insult to the cook, and especially in cultures that take their food seriously. Sounds like yours. That can be a grave faux pas. To avoid that, in the future I would say, my doctor is asking me to add salt to foods, so that they know that this is something you are doing on medical advice and not due to taste. If you don't want to disclose that your doctor has asked you to do this, very fair. You can also carry small packets of salt with you in your purse, wallet so that you can add some discreetly without offense. I know people with similar issues, and this is what they do so that they do not need to ask for salt. Not the asshole. I assume your medical status is known by your parents, and once that's assumed in evidence, your father is so far out of line that it's silly. He should have stuck up for you, but maybe more importantly, since he said this came from your mother, where was she? You got disappointed by your parents. In the future, consider making your own salt caplets with supplies from the pharmacy, so your parents have to deal with accusations of a pill-popping daughter instead of rudeness to the hosts. They may feel better about it. That's supposed to be a joke, but maybe. Not the asshole. You are seeing it from an adult perspective. The adults are not.